When Arata wakes up, despite his best efforts to calm things down, he finds himself groping his irritated cousin's watermelons named Hijiri. After Hijiri chastises him, she continues to be confused at breakfast, and Arata is also confused by her behavior. Then Arata refers to a drawing she did as a child, much to her embarrassment. Later that day, the two go to their school together, but suddenly Arata notices that the sun has gone dark. As Hijiri goes about her business as usual, a confused Arata decides to ignore the sight of an unknown girl in her school uniform who approaches them and asks him to wake up or he will be eliminated. Before he can answer, the girl has already disappeared. Arata thinks about the mysterious girl's warning in the middle of the class, and then Hijiri meets Arata on the roof of the school. Arata asks her if the sun has always been black, which she confirms. Hijiri continues that it has always been this way because this is the world he wanted. She also offers to give in to his desires if he decides to stay with her. Suddenly Arata remembers Hijiri's disappearance and asks him to remember her. As a result, he suspects Hijiri of being a forger, which she denies. At this moment, the mysterious girl from the morning fires a bullet at Hijiri, but she easily deflects the ambush with a barrier. Hijiri recognizes the girl as a mage while Arata recognizes her because of her big watermelons. The mysterious girl embarrassingly introduces herself as Lilith Asami. Afterwards, Hijiri reverses her spell, revealing that the entire city has been destroyed. Lilith explains that a disaster destroyed their entire town 3 days ago, causing him to remember the incident as the town burns and people disappear. In a flashback, we see that Hijiri gives a grimoire to Arata and asks that his wish be granted in order to save him. Hijiri then simply gives him instructions before kissing him. Arata then finds himself alone in an empty world. He refuses to accept his fate, so he asks the grimoire to restore the world to normal, and the grimoire begins to work. Lilith then explains that she was sent by her school to investigate the corruption phenomenon only to find it sound unaffected. After Arata realizes that his wish to the grimoire was the cause, the grimoire, who disguised itself as Hijiri, shows that she was able to recreate the world easily. But Lilith warns that such magic is dangerous. So she has no choice but to give Arata 2 options. First, surrender the grimoire and his memories in exchange for peace, or the second option, to be killed. On the other hand, Arata wonders to himself if Hijiri is still alive, which the grimoire confirms, because she can only project her image. When Arata discovers this information, instead of surrendering or dying, she chooses a third option. The next scene we see Arata arrives at the Royal Biblia's Academy's entrance, then being greeted by Lilith, who thinks he's decided to return the grimoire he's holding. But Arata reveals his decision to become a mage to a surprised Lilith. While Lilith doubts Arata's ability to become one, he declares that he will do so, regardless of the circumstances. Despite the fact that they are the same age, Arata realizes that Lilith is a teacher. As they walk to class, Lilith introduces Arata as a transfer student. Then one of the students named Selena starts asking him personal questions, which he promptly answers. Selena also asks as to whether he was able to perform world reconstruction, a feat only a demon lord could do. When Arata inevitably approves, the class is fascinated by the candidate's appearance. Selena spreads the word about Arata's demon lord magic around the academy. Despite Lilith's protests, Master Biblia is amused by the state of the principal's office. Nevertheless, the headmaster welcomes Arata and explains that Biblia is a secret organization that trains mages and assigns missions. Although the headmaster isn't sure, Arata willingly asks him if he can save many people if he becomes a mage. Regardless, Arata also asks Lilith if there is a shortcut, which she declines. But Master Biblia suggests him to meet and dominate the Trinity's 7, the Academy's 7 expert female mages. Aside from that, Lilith is revealed to be one of them. After the meeting, Lilith advises Arata not to take the principal's words seriously. Next scene, he notices a ninja hiding on the roof, who introduces himself as Levi Kazuma, a ninja who also happens to be a mage, and also a member of the Trinity 7. Next scene, when Mira Yamana and Akio Fudo, 2 other members, happen to be on their way to a mission. Arata inquires about the remaining members. Arata observes that most mages are female, which Levi explains as a result of magic's emphasis on emotion, so girls are naturally more drawn to magic. Although Lilith warns that they should also control their desires, Arata and Levi continue to tease Lilith inappropriately, so Lilith punishes Arata before leaving. Levi observes that Lilith has become more expressive since meeting him. Arata spends the night alone in her room, and thinking about where is the grimoire, which then appears around his neck. The grimoire advises him to take a bath. Following Grimmer's instructions, Arata willingly enters the boys' bathroom to find a naked girl who looks like Hijiri. He doesn't seem to mind his presence, but Arata eventually leaves, but he bumped into Lilith. Despite his best efforts to appear unconcerned, he tries to explain to Lilith that he saw Hijiri in the bathroom. Lilith misidentifies another member of the Trinity 7 as Arata Kasuga. When Lilith finds out about the situation, she chastises Arata while Arata discusses Arata's resemblance to Hijiri with grimoire. Lilith then reminds Arata that he's not wearing any pants, but he's in his thoughts and doubts that Arata and the Trinity 7 will matter to him in the future. The next day in the class, Arata stares at an uneasy Arata. Lilith is also unsure about the situation. As Arata tries to eat in the cafeteria, Arata continues to stare at him. Arata follows Arata through the corridors until she tries to enter the men's restroom with him, surprisingly asking her why she's following him. To which Arata replies that she's observing the Demon Lord candidate. In the next scene, Arata is surprised to find Lilith, Selena, and Levi in his room. Then Selena and Levi both explain why they want to gather information, and Lilith says she'll be there to supervise them. After Selena's interview, Arata asks them to teach him magic, which Lilith gladly accepts. Selena and Levi, on the other hand, observe that she would agree to any training situation, so they fantasize about an erotic scene between Lilith and Arata. Despite this, Arata interrogates Lilith about his grimoire, which she reveals to be the Still Manuscript, a legendary grimoire containing knowledge from another world. Suddenly a blackout occurs unexpectedly, then the grimoire provides the light and the group finds themselves trapped inside a barricaded room. Despite knowing how to get out, Grimoire decides to sleep while the rest of the group looks for an exit. Arata tries to break the door with a chair, but to the girls' surprise it is no use. Due to the principles of magic, they quickly realized his intention to act without reason. The group then discussed the culprit's motivation, which they believe is the determination of Arata's power. Despite the fact that he already knows who the culprit is, he decides to follow the situation. Then we see Arata and another person look at the situation from the top of the roof. The group searches for a way out of the room but finds no clues to help them. Despite Arata's offer to rest, Selena and Levi complain about the lack of a bathroom. Unfortunately, they realize that Lilith has an urgent need to use the bathroom before the other girls. So when their options runs out, Arata consults Grimoire. But he notices that Grimoire is half asleep. Arata, Levi, and Selena then decide to use her condition to trick Grimoire into thinking they've found the solution. Their idea works and Grimoire inadvertently reveals that the source is under the bed. After the girls destroy the magical source under the bed, allowing them to escape to the bathroom, the barrier disappears. The Grimoire manuscript is amused by Arata's ruse and eagerly awaits his choice of FEMA. While Arata is unfamiliar with the concept of FEMA, Arata arrives to explain that FEMA is a lifelong research project that allows mages to use magic. Arata then deduces from her timing that she was the one who set up the barrier, which Arata admits. Despite her actions, Arata says he is not upset, because he saw the girls desperate to urinate. But when Arata offers to do the same, he is confused. According to the Grimoire manuscript, due to her resemblance to Hijiri before meeting her, Arata becomes unstable when interacting with Arata. As the two become friends, Arata inquires about Arata's decision to lock her room. Arata replies that he is the candidate for Demon Lord, which is stated by the headmaster, which shocks him. Suddenly, at this moment, Master Biblia appears from the window. But the two decide to ignore the principal and continue their conversation elsewhere. In the next scene, we see that Arata and Lilith continue to investigate Arata in the infirmary. She says that Master Biblia stated that if the Demon Lord candidate was placed in a stressful situation, another breakdown phenomenon could occur. Arata decides to punish the headmaster, but Lilith has already done the punishment. Meanwhile, we see the headmaster trapped inside a flaming furnace, and he's terrified. While Lilith is fascinated by the phenomenon of failure, Arata decides to explain it by transforming into her Magus form. But this causes Arata's magic to become unstable after she erases the seals on her magic from the Grimoire manuscript. As a result, a failure phenomenon occurs. But Arata is adamant about continuing the experiment for the sake of her research. By the way, she didn't expect the effects to be as strong as they were. Selena then meets with Levi, who informs her that a crash phenomenon is taking place. Outside the academy, the Biblia professor finds Aran's antics amusing, but he can't let the school shut down. As Arata's magic becomes increasingly erratic, Lilith decides to intervene but Aran won't let her. Suddenly Akio and Mira appear out of nowhere after completing their last mission. Mira uses her Super Baya archive magic to neutralize the crash phenomenon while paralyzing Aran and Lilith's movements. So by doing this she gives Akio a chance to eliminate Arata. Akio apologizes to Arata before striking the final blow, and that's the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos.